Well, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the TJ Bowser Power Hour. This is your host with the motherfucking most, and joining me today is Jeremy Brown. Totally fucked up the intro.
What's up, gang?
Yeah, so how you doing, Jeremy?
Doing good. How you doing, brother?
Good. Podcast after podcast after podcast.
Yeah, keep the grind, man. You got to do something during these times, right?
Yeah, it's got to stay busy. You're going to go crazy.
Yep. You start slowing down, you get like me, get fat and old.
Well, you just was able to release a short film, so I guess you're kind of busy.
No, luckily we shot that in, we were getting ready to preparing for it in January, got in February, and was like, okay, time to shoot. And we did, and we got it done. And so I had a month or two of just editing and playing around and able to pass it back and forth, and we got it done. And it was fun. It was actually fun.
It turned out very well, and I think you guys are getting some pretty good feedback from it, right? Yeah,
we got some good feedback. Wish more people were watching. I mean, come on, guys, 5K views. What are we, old people? This a rerun of the Golden Girls? Come on.
Right.
New material. It's not like you guys have anything to do right now.
Sit down and watch the film. You guys can find that on YouTube at just search Up All Night.
Nope, Corona.
Corona. So let's get into some of these questions. What spawned your love for film, and what made you want to get into filmmaking?
Well, ultimately, it was the Night of the Living Dead series. Mm-hmm. I mean, George Romero was obviously the master of zombies, and I remember being very affected by it. But it wasn't the actual original one that got me into making film. I remember it scared me. It was the remake that Tom Savini did, the 1990s version. And I saw what Savini was able to turn such a classic into something that was even more captivating. And I was like, God, I would love to be able to do that. And I started thinking of all these zombie ideas, and I wanted to be a zombie filmmaker. And then, Jason technically is kind of a zombie, but I started out with a friend of mine named Kim, and she asked me if I wanted to help with one of her films. I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. What do you want me to do? And she ended up putting me as a casting director. I went and casted people for a film. They ended up becoming like my best friends in the world that I'm still best friends with today. And I had the bug after that. I'm like, okay, I know I can do that. I put an ad out in the paper, my very first film. I'm sure you've seen it because we've talked a little bit about it, The End. My very first film, I found some random people on Craigslist. We all came together, and for $500, we made The End.
That's so cool. So your first short was The End, which was your take on a zombie survivors vlog. Why was that chosen to be your first?
Well, I think I clued you in a little bit, but I don't know. We had such an amazing actress in Ariel Albright that I wanted something that was focused on, because at the time, social media was becoming kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And, even in the direst of situation, here you are in the middle of a fucking zombie apocalypse, blogging about it. And I thought it was just a unique take on, how things end up. No matter how crazy the world is, people are still going to make it about, let me get on camera. I'll fix it.
So your second short, Name, has its main character forced to make a very hard and complex decision. What influenced that story, and what was your experience making that short?
Well, that story was just, I had a pretty tough thing happen in my younger life that I don't want to get talking about. I'll get all weepy, and we don't need all that. But and I remember just I thought Name would just encapsulate everything that people have suffered. Like my wife's father died of cancer, and there's the decisions you make every day to try to make somebody more comfortable, and sometimes the toughest decisions are the quickest, And so that story just kind of encapsulates making tough decisions in the face of love,
Awesome. Them dope boys, Corey Kaufman says.
What's up, C. Cough? What's up, Peter Anthony?
What's up, everybody out there in Facebook land watching live. So next one is, what was the story for where was the story for Vengeance derived from, and how did your limited budget affect that story during production?
Well, the actual story, it came from just this goofy thing that Dustin and I, we were sitting around, we were actually playing Friday the 13th, the game, and we were just, tossing them back and like, wouldn't it be cool if we made a Friday the 13th movie? And, we didn't realize that, the legal battle and everything was about to like go full force. And we're like, that'd be cool. And I looked up, who had fan films out there, who was making one. I saw that Never Hike Alone was being made. I'm like, all right, so there's another person doing this. I can do this. And so I started writing it. Originally, Angelica was just going to be this tough Tommy Jarvis bitch that just, she goes to this meeting where, these are former victims of Jason Voorhees and they're family members of it. And it's a Jason Voorhees support group. And she wants to go out there with this ragtag group of people and go kick Jason's ass. Yeah. And then we bounced over to Mythos, where the idea was that Jason was just a myth. He was a mythos. He was like this ghost story. So whenever you were ever at Crystal Lake and you were sitting around the fire telling stories about Jason, that would cause him to appear and become. And that's where we came up with that. And then, obviously the fans were really into that. So we're like, fans, what do you want? They're like, can you give us all the kills, please? And so
all the kills.
All right. So we need a good story and we need to kill all the people. So then Jason and Dustin and I and everybody just got together with Mike Mead, who was another great writer. And we took a few ideas we had from both the original Vengeance, and then Mythos, and we tried to just put it all together in one thing. And we tried to hit all the fan favorite things that we could find. Like, a lot of people, there were some that we had to take a chance with. Like, some people are going to be like, oh, I hate the Book of the Dead. How dare you put that in there? But some people are like, oh, but it makes sense. Jason's a Deadite. You're like, you know what? Not once in Vengeance did we ever say that book, that was the Book of the Dead. People just assumed it. So, could it actually be, it was just a spell book and maybe Elias was just some crazy warlock? I mean, if Jason did get shot to
space. Elias the crazy warlock. That Elias right there?
Yeah, that Elias. I mean, you have all these other crazy things like Jason flying in space and Jason fighting Freddy and all this other stuff. But the Elias thing with the Book of the Dead was a little too much for people. I mean, it's like, you can't win. So, but ultimately we settled on what I feel is a very great story that, encapsulates what Friday the 13th was to me as a kid. I know everybody's trying to hard edge it these days, but I just wanted it to be a fun story that had fun moments. You had your comedy in Friday the 13th. You had, your exciting action stuff. And then you had your deadly stuff. And it was a real, here you go, 80s, we're back kind of thing.
It's funny that people are complaining about the whole Book of the Dead thing. I'm sorry for filling in plot holes.
Yeah. That's all we were trying to do is fill in plot holes.
I'm sorry that your entire franchise has no continuity at all. So I try to fill that in, and then you get backlash. I mean,
well, yeah, because people thought it should have went this way, and I can't tell you how many messages I get on the daily, like, you should have done it this way. I'm like, well, then you should do it, please, for the love of God. We're fans. We went out and made a film. You can do it too. But you ask about how the budget limited us. It obviously limited us on the kills and the effects, because you got to remember, we've got to cater. We had to build that big cabin. We had to do all this other stuff. So by the time we were even getting close to shooting, our budget was low. So it's like, now we got all these kills to plan for. And luckily we had a great FX man, Chad, and he helped us a lot with that. Yeah, I mean, 44 kills in a $50,000. Well, not even that. It was like $38,000 when taxes and everything else is said and done. To do 44 kills in a Friday the 13th movie, when every single Friday the 13th beforehand had a minimum of $1 million budget. So yeah, it was just a lot of amazing volunteers, a lot of people putting their time and efforts. Fans made this film. Fans donated their time. Fans gave so much to this, and that was the big thing. And I swear to God, I'm going to stab the next person asking me about a DVD.
Victor, he's stabbing you. So you got the opportunity to work with the late, great Steve Dash in his Pharaoh role. Can you talk about that experience, what that means to you as a horror fan?
Well, I mean, he's the quintessential Jason.
Yes.
Sackhead, the guy who started it all, the whole thing. Yeah, exactly. And you know this man means business. When you get him on the phone with you and he starts looking at your script and he starts talking to you about, well, I don't know about this and I don't like it and you're crazy and I'm going to break your legs. And no, he's a very spirited man. And he loved the storytelling that we were doing with this. And he said we were bringing it back to how it was, how original it felt, how it felt like a Friday the 13th. It's like, it's not all this new fancy, God, what was it he said? It was not this new fancy Darth Maul looking guys cruising around in the dark. I think he was talking about Insidious. But yeah, he really liked that we were bringing it back to the 80s and making it more like you were talking about with Amelia the other day. He really loved that there was more of an art approach to it, and sticking to what Friday the 13th was. So yeah, that's and then I got to talk with him on the phone quite a few times. He would ask me, why ain't I on an airplane? I told him I just don't do airplanes. He's like, why? Are you scared? You scared? And I'm like, I hated to say it because it's humiliating, but I'm like, yeah, I'm scared of flying.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? I can respect that. I'm scared of heights myself. And I'm like, that's crazy coming from a stunt man. So,
right.
But he gave his all to be a part of this. I mean, he gave everything to be a part of this film, and we do our best to honor that. And we did that with our storytelling, and I think we did it by putting out a great film.
I agree 100%. So a lot of various talents from all over the horror world were involved in the production of Vengeance. How did that come to be?
Well, I mean, there just all kinds of craziness. I mean, like, you go to conventions, you talk to people, you hope for the best. CJ Graham actually became we had been trying to get Tom Matthews, but he was already conflicted with another project. So we're like, okay, this is irritating. Like, you know what? I'm just going to email CJ Graham, see if he'd be interested. And I emailed him. He's like, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a call. I'm like, here's my phone number. And ironically enough, he gives me a call on Friday the 13th.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, yeah, send your intent and let's do this thing. I think it sounds like fun. And he loved that we were doing everything that we were making extra on the side was all going to the Shriners Children's Hospital, and he loved that. And, a lot of what he did, he donated all his time and what he would have been paid as a wage, and we put that towards the Shriners Children's Hospital. And that's what Steve Dash did as well. He wanted to do this for the kids. CJ wanted to do it for the kids because, you know what? We're getting the kids ready for horror, the ones that are growing up now in our age. We got to get them ready. And if we show them that, the people behind horror aren't the maniacs or the crazy people like, our moms and dads used to tell us that, oh, you don't watch these movies, Satanists make these movies and all that. Show them that we're actually good people behind the camera and all that. So, yeah, but, just bringing in like all these people was just a lot of luck, talking to the right people, running into the right people. I could go on and on and on. And it's a very long story. We'll save it for the DVD.
Yeah.
When it comes out, Victor.
Jeremy Brown looks like the guy who tells you how to start your own microbrewery. He does. And he likes those really sour IPAs that nobody else likes, but for some reason he talks about them all the time. He's one of those guys, you know. Yeah, but he'll be back in here shortly. I don't know what the fucking problem is. Everything's fine on my end. I'm receiving all the audio from all the signals just fine. So I will serenade you guys with all my voices. If you guys haven't checked out A Nightmare on Elm Street Up All Night, head on over to YouTube and watch that shit. It's great. It's only like 20 minutes. It's a hell of a 20 minutes. So maybe I'll use this time to play a little commercial from the show sponsors up in here. Let's do that now. I'll just pop your name up here real quick, and there we go. Okay, so what were some of the more challenging things on Vengeance other than things previously mentioned?
Some of the challenging things were obviously, you know, getting everybody into like where they're supposed to be. Like, what I mean by that is getting everybody housing, transporting everybody, getting everybody to set. And with, you know, most of our people being volunteers, getting people to show up to work at all. Because, you know, there were some that were just like, would show up, wouldn't show up. And I was like, and obviously making sure like any of our backers that were coming, we had to make sure they were well taken care of, and that would be distracting from what we were doing. Not that they were a distraction, mind you. I'm just saying you just want to make sure your backers are well taken care of. And then I think just getting props ready and just being mentally prepared to, you know, go 10 days straight, you know, with day switching in between. So you're going from days to nights to days. And it was a lot of hard work. A lot of people put a lot of work into it. Yeah, Jason Brooks, I tell you, that guy's a machine when it comes to making film.
Goddamn right.
You want him on your team for sure. So yeah.
So how do you think Vengeance stands apart from the other Friday the 13th films, and what would you do differently if done again?
Well, I think what makes us stand differently is that we're trying to do something that gives some continuity to a film series that has zero continuity. And I think we're the only ones that really tried to do that. Other people are doing their own little off-brand story of the universe, you know. But we really just tried to tie in elements from like number 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And I thought 6 was just a perfect way to continue that, because bringing back Jason supernaturally, we had to know why he's coming back supernaturally. We finally had to ask those questions. Why does he keep coming back? Well, now we have a reason, because his dad. And everybody's like, well, you know, what about his mom? Well, I mean, she still haunts his head. So maybe she still haunts his head. Maybe that's something that Elias planted in his head, you know? And yeah, yes, there is no Vengeance without Sean Lutzis. We all know that. And I was definitely going to get there. So
quit jumping the gun, Peter. Quit jumping the gun.
So yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, that should do it, my friend. I think that's what separated us. I think the the challenges, we rose up and met, and I think we got a really original story out of it. And I think that's what set us apart, but also kind of brought us in a little bit. I'm not saying we are canon by any means. I'm simply saying we tried to make sense out of the whole series, and that was the whole point of Vengeance, was to give fans a way to fill in those holes.
Okay, so what were some of the things you learned making Vengeance that helped you whenever you started production on Up All Night?
Well, learning how to manage my time was a very important one. On Vengeance, we were a whirlwind, and I never knew where we were going from one shot to the next, because it was so furious. You can't plan out this kind of stuff. Even if you write out a dedicated shot list and storyboards and the whole thing, you find it's constantly changing. And when you're dealing with things with like you're running with a skeleton crew, you can't do the shots that you had planned for that day because now you have to change that completely. And how do you make good out of this scene? So with Up All Night, I made sure that everything was listed, ready to go. I stepped in as first AD. I made sure time cards were out. Everybody knew what was going on, what times we were going to do it. I knew what we could get away with, and I knew what we couldn't. So I learned a lot on Vengeance on how to handle Up All Night. And Up All Night, for the most part, went smooth as butter. Until the last night, of course, when everybody's tired. And we're ready to wrap it up. It's when we were shooting the Pinhead stuff. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it.
Let's be honest, if they're watching this, they probably did see it. So, when filming Up All Night, what were some of the techniques utilized to make sure that it felt and looked like a Nightmare on Elm Street film?
Can you repeat that? You cut out for a second.
When filming Up All Night, what were some techniques utilized to make sure that it felt and looked like a Nightmare on Elm Street film?
Well, the big thing is we had obviously Mick Strawn, who has all this production and design experience with the third and fourth one. And he is able to really come in there and kind of talk about lighting, the little lighting tricks they used. In the bedroom, you'll notice what kind of looks like water. All that was a giant tub with a broken mirror in it. And we were just bouncing the light off of that and just having somebody shake the tub. So it looked like, there was something dreamy going on with that. Dan Feldmeyer painted that creepy heart rose looking thing in the background, and Mick just designed it out there and worked with Jason to get a really cool set design. And so some of the techniques we aimed for was the color palette. I think the color palette was probably the most important because in Nightmare, you're used to those reds and those blues and everything being in there. And you'll notice throughout the film, those colors become apparent all over the place. Like at the end, you have Jason and Pinhead more in the blue tones to kind of signify the end. Whereas when Freddy comes out, it's all the red. And at the beginning, it's all the green. Like you don't know what's really going on. So
yeah,
I think film tonality really sets the mood with great music. Veden, he did an amazing job with our music, especially that opening.
Oh God, right?
He designed that from the ground up, and it was like, yeah.
Dude, that music got me half-mast. But can I do a little sidebar here and talk about the lighting on Up All Night? I'm a fan of Giallo films, and this definitely had that feel, especially the ending scene with the kind of the washed out red. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It just definitely sets that whole darker, evil tone as soon as Freddy starts to come to life. It's mwah.
Well, and that was a great editing or a color grade decision Dustin made is we go from the bathroom where you still kind of have those greens and it's still a little creepy, and we carry that into the bedroom, and then right when Matt's character Jonathan realizes what's going on, that's when the whole world shifts, and we kind of give you a little doubt in the bathroom: is he or is he Freddy? Yeah. And so when you find out it's her, that's when the red flies.
So when developing the story for Up All Night, you managed to merge 3 different horror universes in a very involuted way. What all went into making that story element come together?
Well, when Matt Shaw and I were talking about how we wanted to approach this, I was like, we've got great assets on hand to make this just really kick ass. And I explained to Matt why I think it would work to bring Jason and Pinhead. I'm like, but my inspiration comes from the Savini Jason from the game, actually. And where Savini Jason's got the claw marks, obviously, and the chains that he's wearing. I know a lot of people say, well, that's because he was held under the water and those are the chains he wearing. I'm like, no, broke those damn things off. Now I like to think of it as now he's bound because Pinhead, pleasures of the flesh and the chains that would come out. Pinhead took control of Jason and sent him after Freddy killed one of Pinhead's little victims that was playing with the box. So, yeah.
That opens the door for so much because it can be as simple as playing with the Lamont configuration then falling asleep.
Right. Exactly.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
So now we have a real reason for a Freddy versus Jason.
Yes.
Instead of, could you just go around and kill people so they think it's me?
Yeah. This is pretty much Pinhead using Jason as a physical manifestation of himself to cause harm in the real world.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes. I think it's definitely ambitious and definitely makes that ending stand out.
Well, yeah. And that's why we kind of went with the Vengeance Jason, because that was the last film we did, and we really want to kind of homage that. And we're trying to stay sequential in the way we tell a story. So when you see Jason standing at the window and his eyes come on fire and the lava marks start to play into effect, that's when you're like, all right, now this is when the clothes go all black and the mask is going to go black. And so if we do another one, you know what's coming.
So let's get back to zombies real quick.
Yes, zombies. I love them.
Recently, you co-wrote a story with that British gentleman, Matt Shaw. Why am I calling him a gentleman? Fertility. Can you talk about that? What are you going to do with that?
Well, I didn't really co-write it. I pitched him the idea. I gave him basically a synopsis of what I thought the character would be, and it set him off, and he crafted this just amazing story. And my intentions with that story are I would like to do a series on it. You know, a lot of filmmakers talk about doing series, but it's hard. It's hard, challenging work. But the beauty of doing a series is you can shoot a pilot.
Yes.
So I want to shoot a pilot. I've taken the story idea out of people's hands that I thought I was going to work with before. So I was like, no, I'm done with that. And I loved working with Matt. And I'd kind of like to bring my old Vengeance crew back and do something exciting with this. It's a story of a gal who's at the end of an apocalypse. And she's trying to become a mother, per se, because this virus wiped out pretty much 98% of men. Men that are alive are now used as, toys, things to impregnate. So, yeah, they're like cattle at this point. And they're in brothels and that kind of stuff. And women are the dominant species now. So she's just trying to avoid all that, becoming this careless, hateful person, and is just trying to meet somebody that can help her have a child so she can create a new leader for the world. Kind of plays off a little bit of Children of Men, but more zombies.
There we go. Yeah, so speaking of zombies, we'll go off script here for a while. What is your favorite single location horror film?
Single location of a horror film?
Mine's Day of the Dead. Like a horror film that takes place in one location. It can have a little bit, yeah. Yes.
Well, Day of the Dead's, like, I would agree with
right?
Day of the Dead. That is such a... because that whole trapped underground and the corrals that are in there and knowing they're down there with you, and that was pretty terrifying.
And how dark it is all the time.
Yeah, and just...
it's so unnerving.
and then when they do finally break in and there's nowhere to go except going right through the corral, is like, oh my God, I couldn't watch it as a kid. It's like, this is terrifying.
It's that whole, like, it's whenever they're in Night of the Living Dead, whenever they kind of like put themselves in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you can't be there. And then you're in the house and you're still kind of like stuck within the house.
Right.
It's that whole horde aspect. And that's why I always like say that it's more important that zombies horde rather than run. Because that's more scary.
I agree. Because, I mean, you could smack a zombie around, but they start gathering up on you, you're going down.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what people are saying here. I haven't looked at anything.
Yeah, so Jaquint Broden, Q, wants to know, what is up with Ken Slate's picture in the men's bathroom wall?
Oh, well, that was a little shout out to Mr. Peter Anthony. He was unable to make it out. He was actually supposed to fly out and be one of the bar patrons, but he wasn't able to come. So we thought we'd make fun of him and torture him instead, and talk about, he's a guy pretending to be a girl going into girls' bathrooms. He's using the excuse he's transgender. So, yeah.
The problem with that is you just said pretending.
Yeah, it's true. No, you're right. He was born a woman. I'm sorry.
There we go. Don, you said Peter versus Kane. Whom has the better beard? Wrong answer. I have the better beard. Okay.
That is correct.
Yes. What else do we got here? I'm sure Q has a bunch of questions here. Were there copyright issues showing Pinhead's face?
Well, it's a fan film, so we're not selling anything. We haven't made a dime. Every single bit of money that has been raised by the fans for the film has been put into the film.
Yeah.
And we're pretty crazy about keeping the books on that. And Matt kept the books pretty regularly. And if they come out saying, "Hey, you're trying to profit," we're like, "Here's the books. Nobody's profiting." I promise you. You see the black hair?
Yeah.
No, that's not black. That's red. Let me correct that.
Somebody said something about the little flame graphics in Jason's eyes, if you want to comment about that.
That was Dustin Monteith. He actually used to do a lot of CGI work, and he worked on like some pretty big films, like The Last Witch Hunter with Vin Diesel, and I forget what it was. A artist, The Forger, with John Travolta. He did some pretty crazy, awesome work CGI wise on that. So with Up All Night, he had maybe 2 days to get it all done. So considering the rush that he had, he did a pretty great job with it.
So another question, back to Vengeance real quick. The one CGI shot that you guys do have, not really CGI, but more so digital effect, would be Bugsy's head. Did Dustin do that?
Yeah, Dustin definitely did that. And that was the one that we were kind of like just bummed out that, he had to. We didn't want to make it digital, but it was the only way to really get that head slicing.
Yeah.
So we just went with it. It's like, you know what? This will be our one green screen thing that we do. And yeah, so Dustin did the work on that one for sure.
Don wants me to ask you ask Jeremy about Mick and his nickname Goose.
Oh, well, it's kind of funny. We were trying to shoot the Angelica on the porch scene when she's talking on the phone to the different characters. And I kept hearing this damn goose go off, and I'm trying to get audio. I'm like, somebody shut that damn goose up. So I went over there. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And Jason walks over there and then just changes his mind and walks back. And then all of a sudden, Mick, just like this freaking Thomas the Tank, comes running right through everybody and went, "Rah!" and came out at everybody. And it was hilarious because we were all stressed out trying to get these shots done. Yeah. That kind of lightened the whole mood. And that's what you need on set sometimes, is just a mood builder. So since then, he went on to go and play the character Goose and Up All Night. He's sitting there at the bar with Jason, and it seemed like a fitting name to call him.
Why was there so much cocaine in Up All Night?
Well, I mean, you think about like most of the Nightmare films, they don't really use cocaine too much in the films. And it never made sense to us. Well, why wouldn't you use like the drug that's made for exactly that? Speed, crack, cocaine. So when Matt was writing, he's like, "Yeah, cocaine. Everybody has cocaine." And so we had to get like vitamin B12 or something. It's this powder that they use in Hollywood. And poor Rebecca, she had to snort that stuff up. And but Matt
was doing lines on that fucking bar.
Yeah.
Washington's the hotspot for fucking coronavirus, and Mick Strawn's just fucking doing lines of vitamin B12 on this fucking dirty ass bar. Like,
he wasn't actually snorting. He was actually just he was kind of blowing it away. Yeah. So.
Fuck that! Snort that shit. Quit being a pussy.
Man, the fuck up, bro.
That's right. Oh hell. So no nudity in Up All Night. As adverse to Vengeance. Yeah, some have titties, some don't.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street wasn't really known for nudity. I mean, You'd occasionally get a boob here and there, but for the most part, you didn't really see nudity, and we tried to stick to that vibe.
Nudity does not define a film. Part 6, no titties.
Yeah, exactly. Nudity is just, it's internet. Just go type youporn.com and there you go. All the internet nudity.
That's all you need. So is that it for Vengeance questions? Oh, Jeremy, what's your favorite kill that you got to film? Yeah. Oh, what happened there? Jeremy disappeared completely. What the fuck? I wonder if... Oh, there he is. Oh, and he's gone again. This is technical difficulty city, guys. There's Jeremy.
It said this webpage is using significant memory. Closing it may improve the responsiveness of your Mac.
Jeremy, neither of this should be... Well, this should be happening to neither of us, seeing both of us have a reasonably powerful machine.
Yes.
This makes no sense.
I'm just beside myself. Anyway, to answer your question, my favorite kill, probably the when Jules got body slammed onto the ground and Jason just smashed her head. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a great stunt, and Jules went all for it. She got really slammed on the ground. So imagine Jason Brooks picking you up off the ground and slamming you on the ground, and then beating your ass with an axe handle.
So I don't know if this is still going. I haven't checked. It says we are. John messaged me and said I lost the link, whatever the fuck that means. But anyway, something I wanted to talk about is this show really kind of wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you.
What?
This podcast.
Yeah, it wasn't for me. Yeah.
Yeah, you literally came up with this. If you guys didn't know, Jeremy actually came up with the whole concept for the Power Hour.
Yeah. I figured we'd talk a little bit about Vengeance because can I tell you a little bit about what we're doing this week?
Yes, go for it.
Well, Peter Anthony is having a big trivia night where he's giving an autographed Kane Hodder. And Peter, you can tell him the Fangoria issue number because Peter spends a lot of time telling us about his fancy collection. And but he's doing a trivia on Vengeance alone. So if you are not a member of the cast and crew of Vengeance and you want to get on there and you want to try your trivia, we're going to be actually hosting on the F13 Vengeance fan page. And it's going to be awesome. And what a prize. I mean, it's the Jason Goes to Hell one, I believe.
Yes, I have that one over there.
Yes. So, Vengeance is over 1.2 million views combined right now. And we're pretty proud of that. So we're kind of celebrating. We're trying to get the fans involved with a little bit of celebration. 1.2 is not an easy number to hit. I mean, unless you're like some kid beating yourself in the face with a rock on YouTube, then, you'll get 18 million views because thinking is hard. I mean, for a film that we've all just been so passionate and in love with, to finally be getting seen by people, and I can't tell you how many messages I'm getting daily on YouTube because of this film, and it's just exciting. And then, after the film, we're going to do a live commentary. Jason, myself, Peter, we're going to sit there and talk about the production and everything. Well, Peter's going to moderate questions for us, so we're not sitting there having 8 million people like, what sausage do you like in your butthole? We don't have to worry about those questions.
I mean, I think Peter's going to ask those questions either way.
And so it's going to be this Sunday at 8 p.m. Thanks, Peter, for helping out with that. And if you don't mind, I know we still got, what do we got, like 15 minutes?
Yep.
I want to just take a moment and say thanks to TJ here for helping us out with as much as you have on Vengeance. I want to thank Peter Anthony, who's worked his ass off tirelessly to promote and hook the fans up with like cool prizes and do all this trivia lately for Friday the 13th. Donald Shell, who gives and gives and gives to these fan films. He believes in what we're doing so much, and he brought us Joe Castro. You might remember one of the coolest kills in Vengeance, where Jason gets his head ripped off. well, Jason as Louis gets his head ripped off.
By Don Shell.
Yeah, by Don Shell. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the people that we bring into this have become good friends, compatriots, and I, of course, want to thank the biggest guy who made Vengeance even possible, Sean Lutzis, because at the beginning of the campaign, it looked like it was going to fizzle out, and it's Sean's belief in what we were doing with the film that this thing even happened. If it wasn't for Sean, I'm telling you, I'm not kidding you. There's no Friday the 13th Vengeance. So you want to thank anybody, like, worship that man.
Yeah.
Give that man a high five. Take a shower with him. Do the nice things.
Something that listeners don't know is that the entire idea concept for the TJ Bowser Power Hour came from your mind.
Oh, well, I just, I sat there and watched you be like the second string quarterback to most of these talk show things. And I thought it'd be cool to let you actually showcase your talents in an hour and talk with some random ass people like me.
Yeah. Well, look at that. Look, we're at episode 4 already, and I've had a hell of a start. I've had Trent Haga, Lisa Wilcox, Nick Benson, and Amelia Kincaid, and now Jeremy fucking Brown.
Damn, baby. What you do to your hair?
What a lineup. I'm very happy. I'm very humbled, especially the fact that I got to be a part of Vengeance. I mean, it kind of like it spawned all of this, and it's where I got my start. I mean, meeting Peter and Jules at the convention in Jersey kind of spawned our friendship, spawned much my involvement and everything, and now kind of skyrocketed me into a different, let's say, place than where I ever thought I was going to be. But hell, I'm fucking happier than all hell now. That's all you guys.
Yeah, and don't let me forget Jules, because without Jules, we don't have Steve Dash. She was the one that made all these connections, and she made a lot happen for us. She got us a lot of gear and stuff that we needed. She paid for a lot of posters, a lot of T-shirts. She contributed in big ways too. Like just our marketing team was killer.
Marketing team. Let's talk about that handsome fucking graphic designer you had.
Oh, who was that?
Mr. Mustache, Corey Kaufman. That poster design, all the poster design.
Who? Never heard of him.
Some might call him my husband because of how fucking attached we are at the hip.
No, Corey Kaufman is just unbelievably talented as an illustrator. He can take any idea and just form it into reality, and it's awesome having somebody that creative that you can just hit with stuff. And all the props, most of the props, I should say, were Corey Kaufman's little playthings. And Jason and Corey worked together famously to get them done. The posters, and now the DVD. Yeah.
Could you have found a better person to do props for Vengeance other than Corey? Like, seriously.
No.
Like, someone that's such a hardcore Part 6 fan, and that was that balls deep into that film.
I cannot believe how detailed he got everything from the book, right down to the little lemon lime soda.
Yeah.
Like, what? This guy is just insane. And like, he's able to recreate things that I didn't think were possible to recreate. And that's amazing talent. Like, and don't let me count on Jason with his prop making too, because those two combined, with their powers combined, they're Captain Planet.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude. It's just Vengeance was like a culmination of like all the best of the best. It was the League of Extraordinary horror fans.
Yeah,
essentially,
it was a chance to hang out with a bunch of fellow nerds who love Friday the 13th as much as I did. And because of our love, this thing got done. And because we had a hell of a benefactor in Sean Lutzis, who not only helped us get the damn film started, but he provided everything that you've seen on Friday the 13th, Vengeance, was mostly shot on his property.
Yeah.
He provided housing for all our actors. He fed us. He gave us beer. Okay, the man gave me and my crew beer. Okay, so how do you not love a man who does all these wonderful things for you? And
I got Sean at the Vengeance premiere.
yes.
Which again, thank you, Peter Anthony, thank you, Jason Brooks, and thank you, Jeremy, for that. That was literally one of the coolest moments of my life. I never told this to anybody before, but on my way in, driving into Blairstown, I'm gonna try to not get all fucking weird. I went past something that I thought looked familiar, and it was the bridge. And I stopped, and I was like, "This is happening. Like, this is where am I?" And then I saw the cemetery, and I was like, "This is life." And then whenever I got into the theater and I went to sit down, and Brooks was like, "Where are you going? You sit with us." I was so just blown away. I still to this day, it's one of the best moments of my entire life.
Well, I'm so glad you got to share that with all of us, because that's what this has always been about, man, is bringing people together and making a great film, something we can all, share a great moment with. Like, you can look back on this, and this is a thing that we all created. We fans made this. We said, screw you to the money hoarding assholes, and said, look what we did. We did it because we love it, because we care about this.
True fans, real fans that aren't just there to, look at my dick, it's bigger than yours. Fans that actually care about these films.
And James Shearer. Don't forget Splat Hargraves for the Hockey Mask.
Yes.
Hey, thanks, Splat Hargraves.
I actually don't own one of his. I own an Asher Brooks #3.
Ah.
Yes. That was my gift for the first Vengeance interview I did.
I don't even know if he sells them anymore. I haven't talked to him in some time.
Right, me either.
But, honestly, just if it wasn't for the fans backing, for the fans helping, for the fans shooting, for everything, this wouldn't have been a reality. And so, calling us out and saying, hey, you guys are awesome. It ain't about us. It's all of us. All of us are awesome. We all did this.
So Jeremy, what are some films that you're looking forward to in the future?
I'm really excited about doing Fertility. And there's a little one I have hidden on the plate, but I might announce it soon. It's a little erotic thriller.
Ooh. It doesn't have anything to do with Matt, does it?
No, God, no. Ugh. I said erotic, not erotic.
Halfway through, what is that? It gets to be erotic, and then he pulls out a fucking knife halfway through. Is that like a Matt Shaw thing? Yeah.
So, like Peter was saying, that's the one thing I hated about all the, screw this fan film or screw this fan film. Is like, you guys got the message all wrong. This is not what we're not supposed to be divided. Like my film more, like my film.
Unity
more.
and community.
Yeah, unity and community. That's what Friday the 13th's always been, until, you start getting egos involved, and that's where the problem comes. Like, who cares who did what better? At the end of the day, we're all just fans making fan films. We're not Hollywood executives making big decisions. Let's just have fun with what we're doing. I mean, if you were mad about your box office numbers, God, wait till you make a fan film.
Yeah, right. And that's the problem. And some people might be so hesitant to go out there and make films, but it's so easy. This is more powerful than ever, and you can go out in your yard and you can film a fucking short right now.
Absolutely, and it could be a great one. The biggest thing you have to do when you sit down and you want to make a film is have a great story.
Yes.
Camera, microphone, whatever, throw it together. But if you have a great story to tell, get out there and do it.
Yep.
People sit there and say, oh, I've got this great story idea. Well, you got a camera. Go out and shoot it.
Exactly. You don't have to have all this fancy stuff. And by having that fancy stuff doesn't make what you make good. Passion, love, and effort. That's what makes your films good. And Absolutely. Don't let anything stop you from making your films. Because like Jeremy just said, all it takes is a good story.
Yeah.
It's all it is.
And having passion for that story.
Yes. We've had some pretty solid viewership. Why does Jeremy continue to tell Peter he is from Jersey Shore? Well, Peter, because you tend to look like someone from said Jersey Shore.
I think younger Peter Anthony looks like he was Jersey Shore.
You know what? You're right.
Because there was a lot of bro dudes that he hung out with, and there was lots of flexing and lots of bikini chicks. I mean, it was like a scene right out of Jersey Shore.
Bro, you see my traps? No, bro, look at my traps. They're fucking huge, bro.
And, I have an opinion that, trap music was actually invented in Jersey Shore.
Because you look like Snooki's twin, don't you?
Don with the sick burn.
Only in an intelligence level. Oh, boom.
We would never say any of this to his face.
No, because in real life, we would be huge pussies. Peter is a very large man. Okay, Peter says, laugh my ass off. It's all fun and games.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I can do a fairly decent Peter. He's like, you guys keep talking crap, but I'll freaking kill you. I'll murder you.
Really slow, and then you got to get really loud real quick, and then you got to go back to slow. It's the waves of intensity.
But we love Peter.
Yes, we all love you. We love all of our friends, and we love all of our listeners out there for the TJ Bowser Power Hour and supporters of the Do Back Discussion Network. Also, if you guys watch Friday the 13th Vengeance, pay attention to the laptop scene and suss the old Do Back website out. We're in the bottom right corner, I think.
No.
Yeah. And you can hear the sexy voice on the laptop and on the TV. But thanks. That's all to Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy.
You bet, man.
Yes. But thank you guys for joining us on an episode of the TJ Bowser Power Hour. Jeremy, thank you for joining us on this technical difficulty filled episode.
Yes. Between our two computers, let's get her done.
It's crazy. We can fucking edit for days, but we can't fucking do a live stream. It's
do a Jason Brooks impression. Oh, Jesus. Hey guys, appreciate it.
Karaoke. You want to let this podcast end with a little bit of a Motorhead karaoke for us? I mean, I could play the music for you. I mean,
time to play the game.
Well,
play the game. Play it. There you go. That's what you do.
There we go. Well, thank you guys. I'll play the intro now.
Oh, heavens.
Yeah. See you guys.